All right, all right. Good evening, everyone. Just to confirm that I'm audible enough once again.
Yes, we can hear you and we
Uh,
can see you too.
all right, thank you, Kazim. First of all, I would like to appreciate uh, you for the privilege to share on this particular part, which is be a leader, how to train people without giving offense or arousing resentment. I would like to say before I start, as a way of background, that I have experienced this with Kazim, and basically, we're not just reviewing a book. Basically, we're actually learning from the book as well as living examples. So I'll start with a particular, what will I call it, a particular ideology from Mark Mason's popular book. Most of you know Mark Mason, and that's the idea that you are not special, right? Most times, when we look at behaviors. You think about how life was when you were in university, how life was in your secondary school. You tend to call some people special, probably because they are topping your class. So in the book, he said that you are not special. You are just being who you are supposed to be. That is, a normal student should read and pass his exam, right? A normal businessman should be able to have proper business acumen, should be able to take business initiatives. It's not exactly any special skill, right? It's just you being what you are supposed to be part time. So where we go into this section, how to train people without giving offense or arousing resentment, the real factor is being a leader, right? So it's not be something special, it's actually be what you are supposed to be, right? I'll use that as more like an anchor to guide us even as we go in through the next 9 points. That being a leader is not it's more like adding inspiration to management. And for many of us here who are slowly rising up the ladder of influence or the cadres that we are in a different workspace, you realize that the higher you go, the more you need that interpersonal skill, right? I'm a software quality assurance now. I do more technical skills, right? But the higher I go, maybe when I get to levels of the likes of my Oga here, Kazim, I would need more of this. But it's something that you don't get ready for a battle when you get to the war front. You can start getting ready from now, right? So we're looking at being a leader and how to change people without giving offense or arousing. So this would go straight into how we communicate, how we relate with people, because as the more you relate to people, the more you relate that people have emotions. Or people will learn to hear things the way they can, not necessarily the way you're communicating it, right? So you would have to learn to speak with empathy, relate with people with quite a high level of consideration, right? So that brings us to the first line, which is if you must find fault, uh, this is the way to begin, right? Growing up in a Nigerian home, most of us can relate with the fact that whenever our parents go out, I don't know if many of you lived the lives like we did. I'm a typical Nigerian boy, right? So whenever my parents go out, maybe my mom went to work, my dad also, and then my siblings rather, are home. Majorly, we tend to turn the house to our own house, not necessarily their house, right? And whenever they come back, even if we've done everything they asked us to do, right? It still starts with what we've done wrong. Maybe we didn't, maybe we left the whole chair scattered and all of that. So there's a way we are programmed to receive feedback or to receive our faults being reported back to us, right? Dale Carnegie here is now bringing it to us that it's always easier to listen to unpleasant things, after we've heard some praise of our good point. The point is this: when you are going to give someone a feedback, before you mention what they've not done right, right? You should have commended what they've done right, right? So the rule says begin with praise and honest appreciation. So it would have been better if the average Nigerian mom comes with, oh, okay, you guys eventually you did everything I asked you to do, but not even the but and rather, right? So it's proper to begin with praise, start with what they have done right. In a proper corporate setting, you would have to begin with the strengths of your employees or your subordinates, right? So it's like going to the dentist, just like the book reference. And you know that no matter how strong you are, no matter how mentally ready you are, you think you are, right? There will be some level of pain, right? And if it's just like the book says, it's like the dentist who begins his work with Novocaine, right? The patient will still get the drilling, right? But the Novocaine is painkilling. It first eases, it gives you more like a soft landing, right? When you are giving that feedback, it lets the person, it lets the person feel appreciated, all right, before they get the axe or before they get the blow, one of them, right? So that takes me to number two. Let me just recap the first point. The first point is what? Begin with praise and honest appreciation. If you must find fault at all, right, this is the way to begin. How? So number two says how to criticize and not be hated for it, right? And that is just a very simple trick. I'm sure people can remember this once I say it, right? And it's removing the bots, right? Oh, let's say if Kazim wants to give me a feedback now, and then tells me that, oh, Toby, you've been working so well on this project. You've met your deadlines, or rather, you met your timelines. You've been able to speak to the respective stakeholders, and everyone has said that your communication has been effective across board, right? But as soon as he adds but to me, right, I will not be comfortable anymore. I feel like something has been wrong. So changing the but to and, right, helps remove the hatred part, right? Helps you to know how to criticize. So removing the but, changing it to and, it will indirectly call the person's attention to their mistake, right? Instead of just directly pointing that this is what you've done. By saying but, you've already given me some form of a redirection on the fact that I have done something wrong and you're directly pointing at it. But by changing that but to and, right, you're calling my own attention to my mistake indirectly. So it's more like, and I will want you to work on this. Or and I think you can work better on this, right? Instead of but, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this right. Simply changing it to and saying that, oh, this is what I think you could have done right, helps me receive it in a better light. Like I mentioned, just to reiterate again, that these skills are more of interpersonal skills, skills that will help us to relate with people better, and it goes beyond the walls of the office. It also goes into even our day-to-day family lives, right? That brings me to the third point, which is talk about your own mistakes first, right? If there's one thing that I think I appreciate over the last 3 years since I joined the corporate space. I've had the privilege of working with people who make me feel like there's no perfection anywhere, right? And especially if you're a young lad coming into a financial institution where things ought to be perfect, you can't afford to make mistakes. You would know that your mistakes are can be weighty. Some mistakes are weighty. Some mistakes involve the company suffering a loss in quotes there, right? But one of the things that I remember, I after my first rotation at the bank, I had the privilege of getting into the investment management team, right? And of course, I'm a newbie. I graduated with a degree in chemical engineering. So coming into a financial space where there were lots of financial jargon, uh, didn't it wasn't an easy what they call it easy transition, right? But one thing that I know that every member of the team did for me then that made me comfortable was the fact that they started telling me what they also studied. So they were like, "Oh, I studied biochemistry and I'm here and I'm doing fine." Right? So in fact, one person even told me that he studied mechanical engineering, right? And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Okay, okay." That means if they can do it, and of course they would have made mistakes, right? So highlighting their own mistakes first to say that, oh, okay, just to give a particular, a more precise example now, we're having a strategy meeting one time and I missed the particular methodology used in valuing a particular fund, right? and that was a mistake on my end. And by the time I was going to get the feedback, I took it. It didn't land well. They called it a baptism of fire, right? So someone actually, in correcting me, someone else told me that they had exactly the same experience while they were still new to the role. So it's not. I shouldn't think of it as something that is just peculiar to me or a mistake I'm just making that is just happening for the first time with the team. So they talking about their own mistakes made me feel like I'm in a family, right? So whatever they were going to say after that, after telling me that they also made a mistake, I received it with I received it with more, should I say, with a soft heart. I didn't receive it with, oh, these people don't like me. I just want to get out of this team. Maybe this team is not for me, right? So talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. And I also do this when I relate with people. Most times, maybe they, and like I said, these principles, they work outside of work. They work right into your family. They also work in your relationships. Luckily for us, right? So talking about your mistakes for criticizing people. Let me just reference the book itself. He says it isn't nearly so difficult to listen to a recital of your own faults if the person criticizing by humbly admitting that he too is far from impeccable. So the point that's been made here is that you must be able to let the person you want to criticize, or let me say, give a feedback to, right? Know that you yourself that you're talking, you are far from that perfection, right? It's a myth, right? We only get better at practice, right? All right, that takes me to the next point. No one likes to take orders. Psychologically, this is called a demand avoidance. It's as simple as I'll wash the plates in my house, right? But as soon as you tell me to go and wash the plate, I feel no, I don't want to wash the plate again, right? Everybody wants to do things at their own time. Everybody wants to do things at their own time. I'm sure everyone here knows what I'm talking about. As soon as maybe okay, most of us have most of us are grown ups, so most of us are parents now. But let me just use my own. I'm not a parent here. Uh, I'll roll back. Let me roll back to maybe SS1 when I was in SS1, right? Whenever I come back from I went to boarding school. Whenever I come back from boarding school, I feel like they tell me that, oh, once I get back home, I'll just be resting. I'll just be resting, nothing. I won't work. They won't call me to do anything. It's a lie. It was always a scam, right? Because they'll tell me, go and wash your daddy's car. Okay, there's this small clothes that your daddy wore last week. Just help us wash it, and then you get to the place where the small clothes is supposed to be seated, and it's a heap of clothes. I'm like, but you said small, right? So there are things like that. Meanwhile, if you're going to take the initiative on your own, you would have said, oh, okay, I have to help my dad wash his car before he leaves for the office, blah blah. But as soon as you just say, Oluwatobi, please go and wash your dad's car, I start feeling that demand avoidance. I don't like the fact that the demand has been placed on me, right? That is the concept in which Dale Carnegie is saying no one likes to take orders. So instead of just throwing the go and send that file now, or maybe writing in your email, or maybe writing in your oh apologies, maybe writing your email that I hope this mail finds you before I meet you, something like that. All right, you would want to use questions, right? You might consider this, or say, do you think you can wash your dad's car now? Something like that helps the person receive the feedback more easier. Because of time, I'm going to quickly fast track, just round off in a few minutes. I did have a lot to say, and like I told Kazim that if you gave me the time, I would have been here for 2 hours. Thanks for the time constraint, Kazim. I appreciate it. All right, let the other person save face. Most times when we're criticizing, we forget that the people we are relating with are also humans and they have emotions. And like Mark Mason said in his book, emotions are feedbacks, right? Emotions are feedbacks, and we must, um, in a bit to criticize or correct people, we must learn to not let the dignity of the person feel eroded, right? Let the other person save face, right? Oh, somebody has messed up big time, and you know that once you come upon his soul, he will not be able to survive it. Just try make it a little light, right? Try make it a little light. So let the other person save face. It makes it makes it possible for you to give. feedbacks afterwards. Because definitely, if you're working together, there will definitely be room for correction. And like people say, the largest room in the world is the room for development. People will keep developing. It means that people will keep making mistakes. So while you're correcting, ensure that you don't lead the person undignified, right? To the next point, how to support people on to success using praise. I learned this from Kazim, really. I think that was the feedback he gave concerning my former team lead. I learned it from Kazim, actually, to be precise. And that he was giving the feedback on my QA team lead before I left the pension team, right? And it was the fact that the way he praised him, he might not have had all the details, but if I was my team lead, I would have felt so good about myself, and it would have helped me make more progress. Because there are certain things you tell to people that will make them easily want to live up to the standard you are giving to them, right? So praise the slightest improvement. Oh, someone did something that they've been struggling with, praise it, right? It tells the person who want to live up to that standard consistently. Praise every improvement, every single one. I like the name of this group. It's called Kaizen Reading Group. The Kaizen concept really is little improvements, continuous improvement, right? It's if someone you know someone is struggling with something and has made improvement, praise the person. It helps the person receive feedbacks over time, right? And give the next step is give a dog a good name, right? Most times people come in without any identity when they come into a corporate space, all right? And the need for them to know what they have to live up to is right there in the face. So you must give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. That one. Then just second to the last point is make the fault seem easy to correct by using encouragement. Yes, most times, let me say it from the top-down approach. Maybe you receive the bashing at the board meeting, then it's now time for you to communicate that same bashing to your own team, and your own team now have to communicate the same bashing to the dependent teams, right? If we let the chain keep coming like that, right, everybody's going to keep getting hurt, right? But you must make the fault seem you must make the fault seem easy to correct. So using encouragement by letting people know what they've done right, at least, even if it's 1 in 10, one thing they did out of 10 things, right? We must make that encouragement so well that it's easy for them to now receive the feedback we're going to pass across. Oh, you did one thing. And I learned this when I joined my new team. I had a presentation. So, of course, the presentation didn't go too well. And so this is what my manager said. Toby, thank you. You did this, and this well. I didn't hear the rest. I didn't hear the rest of the feedback that I didn't do right. You won't believe it, right? Till now, I feel like a very confident presenter because of those commendations, right? So using encouragement, right, makes it easy. Not now, of course. When I say I didn't hear the rest of the thing, that's me exaggerating. But the thing is, it was easy for me to take the feedback after the encouragement. And last but not least, making people glad to do what you want, right? I can stress on this for the next 30 minutes, but let me, because of time, use the next 3 seconds, right? Like I said, this cuts across work, it cuts across your relationship, it cuts across your family. The most joyful thing you would ever get as a human is having people do what you want. But much more, right, is having people glad to do what you want, right? Uh, Let me just say that even when it comes to relationships, right, I tell people I don't just want someone who likes me. I want someone who is glad to like me. I want someone who is happy to please me. And I also want to be happy to please someone else. So you make the person happy about doing the things you suggest. Oh, you should text me every day, right? That one is just go to the military straight, right? Oh, what do you think about us texting more? I feel it will help us gel. That is making people, you are bringing in the person's will, right? And once the will or the volition of the person is respected in a particular action, it makes it easy for the person to do what you want to do, right? So just as a way of recap, I'll take it again, all right? The first one is if you must find fault, this is begin with praise and honest feedback, honest appreciation. And if you're going to criticize, call people's attention to mistakes indirectly. Talk about your mistakes first, right, before shooting the leg. Okay, no, no, don't shoot the leg, but you get the point. No one likes to take orders, right? Let people save face. Like leave people with some dignity as they walk out of your office, right? And also use praise or words of praise. Give a dog a good name. Let people have a good reputation to live up to. Call them boss. Yes, um call them everything that you know they're aspiring to be. Call them billionaires. Amen. Yeah, then make the fault seem easy to correct, right? Use encouragement. Yeah. And lastly, make people glad to do what you want. Even you will enjoy it in the end. Thank you very much for the time.
Wow.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Tobilova. Uluwatobi, we are really happy and excited for the review. All right. Just to mention, Toby is a writer. He's also a very big reader. I like reading, but honestly, when he starts telling me what he reads, I'm always like, no, this is another level. So Toby, we'll be glad if you can drop any link that can help us to reach any of your work and also read from you. Really appreciate. So in summary, because we're running out of time, is we have completed the review of this book, right? How to Win Friends and Influence People. And basically what the book is saying is we are in need of others. We are in need of collaborating and relating with others. And the quality of those relationships with people will determine how much value we can derive from them and how much value they can get from us. So when he's saying make people think in your own way, he's not talking about manipulation. It is actually talking about genuine and sincere relationships that people will be happy to do. You're a manager today, right? Or you're a team lead, or you're the boss, quote and unquote, right? How do you make people do what you want them to do and they're doing it happily and owning it? There's one particular thing to be raised, like let people save face. People are bound to make mistakes. You make mistakes too. You acknowledge it, right? But the fact is, do not erode people's dignity and honor while you are correcting them, while you are passing the message. I know sometimes some people have raised on this call that, oh, um, Dale Carnegie is too soft. And no, that's not what Dale is saying. He's actually saying that hold people accountable. Tell them, give them the feedback, let them know what they've done wrong. But when you're doing it, honor them, let them be happy doing it. Appreciate the effort they have put into it and constantly grow together. So we have about 4 minutes to go. We'll open the floor for any quick comments we can take. Any comment that is coming up, we'll take only 1 minute for each comment, and then we'll wrap up exactly 8 o'clock. So please, if you have any comments, feel free to raise your hand, and then I will mute your mic to talk. So while we are waiting hand, there was one part of this book that Dale Carnegie raised, and which is the part of also acknowledge that you make mistakes. You are not perfect. So when we are discussing with people and you are telling them about, oh, you did not do this report very well, your write-up was not good enough, this was not good enough, don't let them feel that you are one Superman, because one day you also make mistake and they will not say, oh, see your guy at the top thinking that he's a master, he's a macho man, he cannot make mistake, right? But by doing this to tell them, oh, I also learned this. This was how I grew, right? I tell some of my colleagues that, see, I do not know some of these things before. I learned this from this person, I learned this from this person, and I gradually learn and grow. So we need to acknowledge it and continue to help people grow. I've not seen any hand. So in wrapping up, we have, if a member of our WhatsApp group, we have voted. We raised 5 books that we would like to read next. Since this is done, oh, okay. Sherry, just give me 30 seconds and I'll give you the mic. So we voted in our WhatsApp group. Now, since we've completed this, which book are we reading next? So all the house voted for Attitude is Everything. And Attitude is Everything is the next book we are reading. Attitude is Everything. I'm trying to open. Attitude is Everything was written by Jeff Keller, and the book emphasizes the importance of attitude in achieving success. Keller argues that positive attitude can overcome obstacles and lead to personal and professional growth. So by next week, we'll be starting with Attitude is Everything. If you don't have the book, go to the market, get the book. If you're able to get a PDF version of it. We'll send it to you and give you, right? So we would, I'll give Akon the mic to speak now. Please go ahead, please.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Can
You
you
can
can
go
you hear
ahead.
me? Yeah, good.
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. I just want to speak for just 10 seconds. I really appreciate the presenter, the way I put it through. I would have loved to ask a couple of questions because of time. But Mr. Kazim have actually cleared the hair on the issue of saving one face. Is very important because I found myself in this kind of a situation, and someone has come to be of help, and by now we have been a very good friends to one another. So I will not want us to waste most of our time, and I also want to suggest going forward the issue of the next book to review. Maybe next week, the Mr. Kazim, you can help us just put a brief summary of the whole book so that going forward we'll be picking it one by one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for that comment. If I remember our WhatsApp group on a weekly basis, we share a section of the book that we're meant to read. And we also remind ourselves in the WhatsApp group, as much as possible, we make the WhatsApp group not open to chit chats so that people will not be bored and be distracted. So it is strictly controlled. And also, we also want to plead with you to visit our YouTube channel for the past editions of some of these sessions. Help us subscribe to it, like it, and continue to share. With this, I'll be wrapping up. I want to thank Toby Kolaole for the fantastic review. I also want to thank all my colleagues that we have worked together on this, starting from Moradeyo Alajubu, Ufoma Akpoibo, Moses, Rich Ofo, and Lukmon Election. This is the team actually behind this. And we'll see you next week again, reviewing Attitude is Everything. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.